Welcome to this e-learning for the alignment of a GC rapier machine. Warning: read and fully understand the operator's maintenance and safety manuals before using or servicing this machine. Failure to follow operating, maintenance or safety instructions could result in serious injury. To start, you have to remove the bolts together with the side guides again. Also be sure that the lubrication pin support is removed. Loosen the bolts and finger tighten them. Fit a feeler gauge of 0.3 mm between the cooling block and the rapier wheel. Push the cooling block down and tighten the bolts. To check, you can put a feeler gauge of 0.2 mm between the cooling block and the rapier wheel. The rapier wheel should still be able to move freely. With 0.3 mm, this is not the case. Torque the bolts of the cooling block at 80 Nm. Proceed as follows to set the height of lower cooling block. Remove the bolts tighter with the side guides. Loosen the bolts and finger tighten them. Fit a feeler gauge of 0.3 mm between the cooling block and the rapier wheel. Turn the cooling block around the bolt until it touches the feeler gauge. Tighten the bolts. Remove the thickness gauge. Check the height of the lower cooling block. If the height of the cooling block is still not perfect, you can use a small plastic hammer to give a few small taps to its correct position. Afterwards, you have to check the height again. You can use the same procedure as on the upper cooling block. Fit the rapier guide. Apply Loctite 243 on the bolts. Fit the washers and tighten the bolts on 13.2 Nm. If the height setting is correct, you can put the upper and lower cooling block side guides back. Just push them as far as possible against the terminal piece. Don't forget to torque the bolts on a value of 16.5 Newton-meter. Now we will put the upper and lower oil guides in the correct position. Just by pushing them against the cooling block. Now you are able to put the lubrication pin support back on the machine. Don't forget to use Loctite 243. After putting the tape back in the machine, you always have to check the correct setting of the hoop support. If the height is not correct, you have to set this again. First, you have to lose the hoop support completely. Now you have to place the hoop support up or down until you have a clearance between the top of the cooling block and the L support. This value has to be between 1 mm and 2 mm. If this is done correctly and the depth of the support is good, the rapier tape should easily slide up into the hoop. Don't forget to torque the bolts of this support again on a value of 80 Newton-meter. The smaller bolt on the support you have to hand tighten. Thank you for watching this e-learning series for the alignment of a GC gripper machine. Questions or remarks? Please contact us.